You know, I've been thinking about this for a while. Not just the game, but everything around it. Because the truth is, Pokemon ZA doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's the product of a company, or more accurately, several companies, that have been at odds with themselves for years. Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, Game Freak. It's this strange ecosystem of bureaucracy, tradition, and old habits. And look, I get it. This is a company with a legacy, with an entire history built on endurance, on stoicism, on that quiet, wheel pushed through Japanese work mentality that prioritizes stability over everything else. But that endurance, it's starting to look more like stubbornness. Because this isn't a studio struggling for resources. It's not like they're broke. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar franchise literally sitting on mountains of cash, and yet they're still treating their developers like they're coding out of a broom closet on borrowed hardware. At the same time, out here throwing lawsuits at fan projects, the same fans who are literally keeping the heart of the franchise beating. The ones reminding everyone what Pokemon used to feel like. That's not a money problem, that's a mentality problem. It's an engine problem, it's a leadership problem. And I think that's the uncomfortable truth. Because when you see Cyberpunk, The Witcher, or even frickin' Stardew Valley running on a Switch better than a Pokemon game, you have to stop and ask what's happening back there. And that brings me to the game itself, because Pokemon ZA, man, it's a paradox. The city, Luminous, Paris, whatever you want to call it, is a mess of contradictions. You can't use bikes, you can't use mounts. Instead, you're encouraged to fast travel everywhere or hop in a cab, which, fine, I guess. But that's a mechanic for convenience, not exploration. And yet, everywhere you go, there's scaffolding, rooftops, random parkour ledges. It's like the city wants you to explore, but only on its own narrow terms. You're never really in the city. You're always just above it or around it. The world feels like it's been stitched together by different teams with completely different visions. One wanted to make a grounded urban RPG, the other wanted to make an open world playground. And somewhere in the middle, they lost what made this setting special. The fact that Paris is supposed to be the city of romance, the city of magic. What we got instead is a lifeless city dressed up as something vibrant. Static skies, flat lighting, textures repeating like wallpaper. And sure, yes, the smaller scope does help. You can tell they really pulled things back to make things more technically stable. There are fewer frame drops, fewer hard crashes, which is great. But you can't have it both ways. If you're narrowing your scope, you need to make what's there sing. You need to make it feel deliberate. And instead, everything feels like a compromise. And that same feeling bleeds into the core mechanics. The MMO style battle system, honestly, I like it. It's fresh. The movement and pacing are a step in the right direction for me. But then you hit the Royale system, and it's just box ticking. It's busy work. You're grinding to reach higher ranks, but the actual stakes don't change. You can get access to rogue mega evolutions hours before you're meant to, so what's even the point? If you're doing the same things at rank F that you would be doing at rank A. And story-wise, it's all just inconsequential. If you never arrived in Lumiose, nothing would have changed. Team MZ would still be out there, fighting rogue Pokemon. The city would still be in the same state. There's no urgency. No sense that your presence matters. And that's what kills me the most, is the apathy of it. Because this is supposed to be a story about connection, about bonds, about the love between a trainer and Pokemon. And instead it feels like you're just completing someone else's to-do list. Catching Pokemon isn't about discovery anymore. It's about ticking boxes in an app for treats and unlocks. And if that's what Pokemon has become, if the joy of catching and the heart of caring are gone, then what is the soul of Pokemon anymore? There are bright spots. The Yakuza-style side quests, they almost save it. They show glimpses of a world that's alive, quirky, and full of personality, but they're inconsistent. They feel like leftovers from a better version of this game that just didn't get the chance to be made. The UI, I think, is great. It's intuitive and clear. The map itself is well designed and well spaced out for what's in it. There's new system changes that aren't talked about, but are so convenient and welcome. You change moves through a menu. No cost, no wrangling. You get a list of what moves your Pokemon has based on its level, and the next tab tells you what TMs are compatible. No back and forth. No guessing. It's great. Evolutions are also refreshing too. There's now not an annoying cutscene after every battle once you hit a level that your Pokemon can evolve. It's now just an indicator on the menu when you have the option to evolve them, removing the entire need for an Everstone, which I think is fantastic too. TMs are back to being limited, and HMs are non-existent. While there's nowhere to go if you wanted to swim or use surf, for example, there's no element-based blocks, which is a unique twist on environments. For example, rocks, you need to get Brick Breaker or another suitable move. It's not just reduced to cut for a bush anymore. You need to remove sludge with water to clear it. It's clever, it's accessible, it's unique. There's a good idea tucked in there. And that's what brings us full circle back to Nintendo, because this isn't about just one bad release. It's about a system that refuses to change. They're the old bakery on the corner. They've been around for 100 years and everyone loves their pies. They've had a recipe for 100 years using the same single tree in the back garden. But the pastry's heavy now because it's using lard instead of butter. The apples from the tree aren't sweet anymore because the tree is rotting from the inside out. And instead of tending to the old tree, or giving the new bakers time and resources to come up with new recipes, they're too busy sending death threats down the road to anyone daring to make a different kind of pie. No one's trying to take away their apple pies. People still love them. But when you cling so hard to a family recipe and you refuse to let anyone else bake, eventually there'll be no one left to sell pies to. Or make them. And if you keep telling your customers that they're wrong, that their taste buds are the problem, that they should stop complaining when they keep getting sick, can you really blame them for going to another bakery? That's not betrayal, that's self-respect. And that's where we are now. A franchise that's forgotten why people fell in love with it in the first place. Pokémon ZA isn't the death of Pokémon, but it is another warning sign. And I can only hope that someone, somewhere inside that kitchen, still remembers the recipe.